Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy, and this video is going to be about your SmackDown, NXT, and Superstars spoilers for this week. And here we go with the results. But first, as usual, some brief WWE news. Okay, WWE announced the following today. Both Raw and SmackDown are about to get extreme makeovers in an effort to help determine which general manager should control both shows. Well, the board of directors met and has decided to switch control of each show next week as a trial, and they might do it permanently. SmackDown GM Theodore Long will take control of Monday Night Raw, while Raw GM John Laryngitis takes the reins of Friday Night SmackDown starting next week, as they will both be on the show for this week's episode of SmackDown. And by the way, it's back at their usual time on Friday night, 7 p.m. time slot on Sci-Fi Network. The decision comes 1 week after John Laurinaitis, I give him the nickname of Laryngitis, along with some other dirt sheet fans, announced at Elimination Chamber that he will seek control over both shows, as he bolstered by flattering testimonials by superstars Mark Henry, Christian, and Alberto Del Rio. A perturbed Long made it clear to Laurinaitis that he's not about to take the threat to his position lying down. Okay, on with some other news. Well, Vader, other known as a real name, Leon White, was asked about his Vader character and commented that he wasn't the first one to be chosen as Vader. One of the most distinguished characteristics for him was his leather mask. How did it come about? How did he start wearing one of the most distinguished masks that he wore in the ring? Also, speaking about how he wasn't the original choice for the character Vader, and the two wrestlers that were presented the Vader character in Japan before it was given to Leon White. Was there any struggle in keeping the Vader character when he joined WWE in 1996? Vince McMahon and I talked about it. What I think he really wanted to do was change the character and come up with something new. It was something I felt strong about, and we kind of butted heads about that part for the negotiations. I look back on that and thought maybe I could have done two characters. Had Vader in Japan and did the Macedon here in America. You never know how that could have turned out. He also was asked more, where you can hear it on the website, thescore.com, from the Aftermath radio show with Jimmy Corderos and Orta O'Cal. By the way, the two that was not mentioned in the article, given the headline, you might have mentioned that the two wrestlers that presented the Vader character in Japan before it was given to Leon White were Sid and the Warrior. WWE will be releasing a new Zack Ryder t-shirt coming soon. Some of the WWE terms trending worldwide on last night's Raw were The Rock, John Cena, Chris Jericho, Kelly, Boost Asses, and Cena's Missing Balls. And probably quite a few other words that I also posted on my results of the Raw broadcast. The Rock wrote the following comments on Twitter after Raw from Monday night. Quote, "Team, bring it. Tonight we made history. Dominated Twitter. Pound The Rock. Pound Boost Asses. Pound Cena's Missing Balls." Unquote. And he quoted again, "Portland, Oregon. Thank you for a historic and unforgettable night. An honor to entertain you on Raw. Pound Team, bring it. It's strong." Unquote. Well, another update on Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Kofi had his staples removed from his head before yesterday's Raw in Portland. So apparently he's okay. And there are unconfirmed reports that Colt Cabana was in attendance for last night's Raw Super Show in Portland. And it was confirmed that there was another guy at ringside and upgraded his tickets since he was backstage or something. And as seen on last night's Raw, John Cena pointed out that The Rock had notes written on his wrist for his promo. Several readers sent word that the following was written on Rock's wrist. 2 reasons. KRS to KPB. Innovator dash camo. And call out. Yeah, I guess a shorthand for him to remind himself of the reasons why he's supposed to be out there and to comment on certain things. And also the call out, meaning to call out John Cena, which he came out. Vince McMahon has stressed safety to all talents who will be working with John Cena from now until WrestleMania 28. So it looks like he's going to get a push not to lose till WrestleMania. Possibly not even lose at WrestleMania. We'll just have to wait to see what happens in that match. There have been a slew of recent injuries suffered by the talent, some more severe than others, such as Randy Orton's injury and Kofi Kingston's at the last pay-per-view, as I have been reporting. Other injuries, like Randy Orton, Mark Henry, and most recently Wade Barrett, who will be out past WrestleMania, have all suffered some type of injury during competition. This is in addition to the close call injuries such as R-Truth, missed spot with The Miz a few weeks back, and Dolph Ziggler being medically tended to after last week's Raw Battle Royal. McMahon then ordered any talents who work with John Cena not to take any unneeded risk in the match. McMahon is putting the weight of WrestleMania 28 success on the shoulders of John Cena and The Rock. The Rock won't be wrestling any matches between now and WrestleMania, which has forced the chairman to make it a point to the entire roster to work as safe as possible with Cena. Well, what happened after Raw ended? I believe there's 2 reports on this. One says that John Cena defeated Kane after Raw went off the air last night in Portland. Prior to the match, after the music stopped and The Rock talked some more, he made fun of a Cena fan in the crowd and then got the crowd to chant the kid's name in the crowd. And the dark match between Cena and Kane started after The Rock left and headed to the back, which Cena won, defeating Kane. Okay, this other report, thanks to Fred Davis for sending that in. Monday's Raw show in Portland, Oregon, passed along the following notes on what happened after Raw TV ended. Rock spoke to the fans about his history in Portland and everyone marking out for local wrestling. He goofed on a John Cena fan and then got everyone to chant the little kid's name in a cool comment in a moment. So if it was actually on TV, I bet the kid's name would be trending worldwide. And in the dark match, there was 2 matches advertised, so I guess they scratched the Dolph Ziggler versus CM Punk title match and kept the John Cena versus Kane match. There's no result on actually what exactly happened and how the finishes. Because normally they would do the DQ finishes. Well, UFC fighter, this is the guy that was at ringside. K.O. Sonnen was backstage at Raw last night. They also watched the Raw from the crowd and could be seen in the front row during the Rock's main event promo. K.O. reportedly had his seats upgraded as earlier in the night, and he was as he was seating back near the aisle. Happy birthday goes out to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He turned 59 years old on Tuesday. He was born February 28, 1953, and his son continues to work in WWE Developmental, FCW. And I read and heard that there is a new FCW champion recently. And I think it was Seth Rollins, I believe it was. I don't know if I have it posted, but I read it somewhere. Also, the missing link would have been aged another year. That's Dewey Robinson's real name. Born on this date, 1939. He died August 16th, 2007, following a lengthy battle with cancer. His fame was WCW some bit, and also some World Class Championship Wrestling with Skandor Akbar and versus the Von Erichs and what have you. Thanks to Cassidy Reigns sending word that during last night's Raw, aired a commercial for the May 5th SmackDown event in Asheville, North Carolina, thus meaning this could be a possible spoiler. The commercial advertised Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan match for the World Heavyweight title, and it teases that Bryan retains his belt at WrestleMania 28 in Miami. So, well, another report said that the same ad aired for the May 6th SmackDown show in Charleston, West Virginia. So, these may not be TV SmackDown. They are probably live events. So, possibly Daniel Bryan could be holding the title still after WrestleMania. Well, SmackDown taping takes place tonight. Took place Tuesday night in Seattle, Washington at Key Arena. The advertised TV main event is the World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan facing the returning Randy Orton in what is apparently a non-title match. Randy Orton will face World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan on this week's episode of SmackDown. Synopsis reads, this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time on Sci-Fi Network, Randy Orton will return to SmackDown with his eyes locked on Daniel Bryan. Just 2 weeks after the World Heavyweight Champion gave WWE's Apex Predator a concussion that kept him out of the Elimination Chamber match. Well, I read an article from the Sentinel Standard from online this week about a teen who suffered from cystic fibrosis as he met with Triple H through the Kids Wish Network at the February 13th Raw Super Show. Earlier this month, the kid also got to meet Brodus Clay and John Cena while visiting Raw. Vicky Guerrero is featured in a new article on KTSM.com talking about her side business making scrapbooks. Vicky is currently working on a shadow box for the Bella Twins. If anybody knows what a shadow box is, let me know, because I'm not familiar with a shadow box. Unless it's just a box for scrapbooking. As noted a few days ago, there was a big announcement teased by Matt Stryker for this week's episode of NXT Redemption. The 1-year anniversary of the show was the announcement. It was announced tonight at the tapings that William Regal is the new general manager of NXT. Regal will be responsible for making the matches each week and running the show. Stay tuned more for details, as you will hear with the NXT results. And they're just brief. WWE's website has a new article looking at Cody Rhodes now holding the Intercontinental title for 200 consecutive days. Cody joins IC title holders like The Rock, Kurt Hennig, Pedro Morales. When March rolls around, Cody will pass Shawn Michaels on the list. The following matches are listed for tonight's, it was at 11 p.m. Central Time. Airing of the AWA on ESPN Classic. Shawn Michaels versus Budokan. Scott Hall versus Doug Summers. Jerry Blackwell versus Boris Zukov. Match is taped Monday night in Portland, Oregon. For this week's episode of WWE Superstars are as follows. Divas Champion Beth Phoenix defeated Alicia Fox in a non-title match. Santino Marella beat Kurt Hawkins, accompanied by Tyler Rex. Rex tried to interfere, but Santino still prevailed with a win. Advertised dark match main event for the SmackDown taping featured Daniel Bryan versus Big Show versus Mark Henry in a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the results from Seattle, Washington, courtesy of Jack Hook. SmackDown portion of Superstars. Great Khali defeated Jinder Mahal. or Mahal, however you want to pronounce it. Who gives a crap? You the fans, I guess. And the dark match prior to SmackDown taping was Ted DiBiase Jr. defeating Hunico with Dream Street. NXT results. Alex Riley and Percy Jackson lose to Darren Young and Titus O'Neil in the first match. Michael McGillicuddy defeated Tyson Kidd by a running neckbreaker. William Regal was announced as the new NXT matchmaker. Caitlyn versus Maxine was the main event. Caitlyn won with a bubble bomb. And the brief SmackDown results, lots of Daniel Bryan and yes signs in the crowd. Sheamus promo burying Daniel Bryan, Vicky out with Dolph for the usual heat. Teddy Long is out. He signed Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus to a match. Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus to a match. Sheamus versus Ziggler. Sheamus won with the Celtic Cross. Laryngitis wanted an apology for Teddy for attacking him on Raw. Discussed switching brands and whatnot. They signed Otunga versus Show. Santino versus Heath Slater. Santino won with a Cobra. Eve's segment backstage didn't get tons of heat. Natalya Comedy killed the segment did. Eve pinned Natalya fast with a roll-up. Cody Rhodes cuts a promo about Big Show. Getting boring chance. Show comes out. Cody fled to the crowd when he came out. Show did a promo asking him to come back and be friends. Cody didn't want to be friends. Show went to chase him. Teddy stopped him. Teddy signed Big Show versus Cody Rhodes for the title at WrestleMania. Show got excited to win the Intercontinental title. Show versus Mark Henry. Wasn't it Show versus Otunga? Show took 360 bump over the top rope as Mark Henry clotheslined Show, but Show ended up winning the match over Henry. Henry took almost the entire match until Show hit the desperation knockout punch. The WMD, I guess. Teddy says it's do or die for Drew McIntyre. He wins tonight or he's fired, finally. As they have forgotten his storyline where they've done it for the last almost 2 months. Well, Randy Orton vows to make Bryan pay tonight. Drew McIntyre versus Justin Gabriel. Gabriel wins with a 450 splash. Teddy on the Titantron fires Drew McIntyre. No one cared. Awesome Daniel Bryan promo. He is from Aberdeen, Washington, as they were in Washington, and he says, and the fans cheered. Then he says he moved to Vegas as soon as humanly possible to keep his heel faction. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. Orton, biggest pop of the night. Orton made a comeback, went to bail. Orton follows. Suddenly, Kane Pyro hit, interrupted the match. Bryan and AJ bailed through the crowd. Kane versus Orton brawl. Good match until the finish. Kane with a choke slam in the ring. He wants the mic and welcomes Randy Orton back. And the dark match main event. Daniel Bryan versus Big Show for the title. No Mark Henry in the match, so it wasn't a triple threat as they advertised. Cody ran in for the DQ. Sheamus made the save. Sheamus chases Bryan to the back. Show with a big choke slam on Cody to end the show. Thanks to Andy and Tara for the following SmackDown spoilers from tonight's tapings in Seattle, Washington. In the dark match, Ted DiBiase beat Hunico. This one's a little bit more detailed. Well, Sheamus kicks off the show and comes out to a big pop. He began to talk about WrestleMania 28, but is interrupted by Vicky Guerrero. Excuse me, Chance. And Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler is pulling double duty this week on both shows. Teddy Long ends up appearing and makes it Sheamus versus Ziggler for right now. Sheamus defeated Dolph Ziggler. Okay, then they had a segment with John Laryngitis and Teddy Long, Peanut Head. Laurinaitis wants an apology for what happened on Raw. Teddy refused and makes Mark Henry versus Big Show for tonight. Santino Marella defeated Heath Slater. So there's your little bit difference between the detailed event and the other brief event, the brief results. Santino Marella defeated Heath Slater. Eve Torres came out and cut a promo like she did on Raw. Natalya comes out and farts, which led to a match. Eve defeated Natalya in a quick match. Still tired of it. I mean, you're going to ruin a natural talent. And Natalya makes me sick. And then they had an in-ring segment with Cody Rhodes and Big Show. Teddy Long came out and made Show versus Cody for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 28. So if you count the days from 200 all the way up to WrestleMania, whatever was left, so he may surpass Shawn Michaels by WrestleMania for holding it that long. Well, Long brought out Mark Henry next. Big Show defeated Mark Henry with a knockout punch. Not much said differently in the two results. And a backstage segment with Laryngitis, Peanut Head, and David Otunga. Otunga threatened to sue Teddy for pushing Laurinaitis, but didn't Laurinaitis push on Santino Marella, an actual wrestling talent? Go figure. Otunga versus Big Show was made for Raw instead. Teddy booked Drew McIntyre in a match with Justin Gabriel and says if Drew loses, he's fired. Justin beat Drew with the 450 splash. This time Teddy appeared on the big screen and said, and he fired Drew. Drew actually cried before leaving. That was a little bit different, a little bit more detailed than the other result. And Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton fought in the main event until Kane's pyro went off. And he came down the ramp. Orton and Kane brawled as Bryan escaped. Kane got the upper hand in the ring and chokeslammed Orton. Kane took a mic and stood over Orton, welcoming him back. Well, I guess he didn't sing the song of the famous TV program, Welcome Back, Kotter. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Who wants to hear Kane sing anyways? Well, that ends my report for the SmackDown tapings, NXT, and Superstars Internet. And thanks for viewing. Stay tuned for 2 weeks of TNA Impact Wrestling coming soon.